Hello everyone, welcome to Petrosys webinars. My name is Karolina Harvey and I will be moderating today's webinar. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and the recording will be available for viewing in a couple of days on our website. The presentation today will last about 15 minutes. If you have any questions at any point, please type your questions into the questions box in the webinar control panel. All questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar's topic is Petrosys version 17.8, faster mapping workflows. I would like to welcome the presenter, our product manager from the Glasgow office, Mr. Ewan Rowe. Ewan?
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Our agenda today includes a brief PowerPoint overview of the headline features, a live demo in version 17.8, and we'll finish with a summary of the key benefits, followed by answering any questions you have. The focus of this webinar is how 17.8 will help you save time in your mapping workflows, and we'll look at the items below in our live demo. Dragging and dropping data from Schlumberger's Petrel to the Petrosys map, new options to fix map elements, by which we mean items like the title block, scale bar, colour bar, north arrow, etc. We'll also look at the new dynamic location map option. In surface modelling, we'll show you how our task files can make it even quicker to regenerate your surface models and update your presentation quality maps when new data comes in. And the Spatial Editor has some new tools which make data editing even faster and easier. We're not going to cover all the new 17.8 functionality in this presentation. In particular, the new grid editor is a major new feature. It will be introduced in its own webinar, and the date and time will be posted on our website soon. It allows grid editing functions to be run from within the Spatial Editor window in mapping. Options include localized regridding following contour and fault editing, and creating a grid immediately from digitized contours and faults. Digital elevation models and raster files can now be imported directly into Petrosys grids, and Web Map Service Access has been extended to include secured WMS and tiled WMS. To arrange a full demo of the new features in 17.8, please contact our support or your account manager. Before we start the demo, I'd like to acknowledge that the data we're using here comes from United Kingdom Oil and Gas Authority. We're going to start off in Petrel. This project's called the Mid-North Sea High, and we'll start Petrosys off from our existing plugin and open up a map. Previously we had to go through display menu options to get data from Petrel to Petrosys. We can now drag and drop many data types directly. At its simplest, we can go to the Windows pane and choose any of the 2D windows that are available, drag them over to the Petrosys map, and any data types we support will appear immediately. So here we have our seismic lines coming live from the Petrel project, and we've also got our well locations with the top symbols correctly mapped. We can also drag and drop individual items. If we want to see the well tops, open up our stratigraphy folder, choose the top we want, drag and drop it into the mapping canvas, and the top depth and name will be posted. Now I actually wanted to use the top chalk. If I make a mistake, all I do is go back to Petrel, choose the correct top, hold down Ctrl A, drag and drop, and that will replace the top that was previously posted. We can also post rasters from Petrel, such as surfaces. So I have my top chalk surface here, drag this over, and Petrosys will correctly recognise it as a raster and display it behind any point line or polygon data that's displayed. For anyone not familiar with the North Sea or these geographic coordinates, it would be really useful to add in a location map. We can do this using the new dynamic location map icon in the toolbar, or access it from display map elements, location map. We can choose to have the same coordinate reference system as our main map, or we can choose a world projection method such as World Mercator if we're working over a large area. Another new feature is the ability to fix these map elements to corners of the map sheet. I'll position this one at the bottom left. The zoom factor controls how much of a border there is round the AOI of the main map. The location map we're going to display is a map of a world showing country outlines and seas. We can change the symbology for the countries and the oceans, and also the symbology for the AOI itself. Now we can see where this is, just off the UK coastline in Europe. I'm now going to open a predefined Petrosys map. So this is a template for this North Sea High project. We've taken some time to set up a nice presentation quality map. You can see that we have map elements posted in the different corners. So if we click in the title block, you can see it too is fastened to a corner of the map sheet. Under the map sheet menu, there's a new option to resize the area of interest. So I can resize this, I can make it a lot bigger. We'll just increase the size of the map. The things to appreciate here are that the map elements stay in the same location, they don't get left behind. And also you can see the location map itself is updated to show us a larger area of interest. We could reduce this again using the zoom factor if we wanted. One more time, I'll resize just picking a new extent, just draw a box around the area I want. And the same thing will happen, we'll get our map elements correctly positioned around the map border. We're now going to move into the surface modelling. And we'll run a workflow here that's going to let us go through a range of tops that are stored in the Petrel database. So what we're going to do is create a Petrosys grid, write this into a PDF file, and then loop over this for each of the formations that we want to select. Petrosys already supported looping for files if we wanted to do conversions into different formats, and we could loop over horizons in our own seismic data file. But prior to version 17.8, we couldn't loop over horizons in third-party data stores or formation tops. For this demo, we're going to loop over 5 different tops stored within the Petrel project. You can see we can also loop over data from dbmap, from DugInsight, Kingdom, Petra, OpenWorks, Paradigm, Sizeware, all the connections you would expect in Petrosys. And you have filtering options like well-top folders or filtering by interpreter if you want to take a subset of your own tops. The second step in here is the grid creation one. This has got a scripted parameter which is output grid name. The output grid name comes from the name of the top in the Petrel project, and we can easily tell it's scripted by the turquoise box that appears around it. I didn't mention it earlier, but we can also drag and drop data from Petrel into Petrosys surface modelling. We could do this directly, or you can use the blue arrow, select your data in Petrel, click on the blue arrow, and that will become selected in Petrosys. This blue arrow is only available when you're working with a Petrel connection though, you won't see it at any other time. The third step in the workflow is to create the PDF. We could create raster files, we could write to Petrosys DBMs, we could write different PDF files. In this case we're going to append them all to one file. If we have a look at the scripted parameters, there are 3 things that we've scripted. The grid itself is going to be replaced, the tops are going to be replaced, and an important addition here is being able to replace the contents of the title block so that everything matches up. So other things like the scale bar, the GIS data and licenses, that's not going to change, but the things we want to substitute in the map are the geoscience data really and the title block contents. We'll set this off to run, and while that's going we'll have a look at some of the additions to the spatial editor. This map shows us some 2D seismic lines, some license blocks, and we've also got one fault displayed. So we'll open up our spatial editor, drag in the faults to start off with. When we went from the contour fault polygon editor to the spatial editor, a few tools essentially dropped out, and we've reinstated these. So in particular how you control fault ticks. You can see this fault has no Z values or fault flags. If we want to assign some fault flags, just choose this button and it populates them. However, if it's put it in the wrong side, we can easily swap sides, or if that's not what we wanted either, we can invert the fault ticks. So now we've got one button clicks to help us rapidly tidy up our faults and make them look geologically credible. I'll switch off the seismic data here in the faults and we'll have a look at the shapefile. There are also some new options available here. We'll pick a few license blocks and choose this new icon here, which exports the selected data out to a spatial format. We used to be able to do this to Petrosys polygon files. We've greatly extended the range of data sources we could do this with. So we'll put this out to an Excel spreadsheet. Before 17.8 we could export point data to an Excel spreadsheet, but we couldn't export lines or polygons. From 17.8 that's possible. We'll open our Petrosys project folder. Here we can see the spreadsheet we've created. It's got a segment separator, it's got headers, has our different license blocks, it's stored all the attributes, and we've also got the coordinates for each of these polygons along with some information about the area and the length. We can put this into another application. Returning to the spatial editor, sometimes we want to have exclusion zones. So perhaps I want to exclude this block in the middle. I'll just pick a few more license blocks round about it, and we'll look at these icons down here. We could move shapes to the back if we want to make it easier for editing. We can also group or ungroup just as we can in something like PowerPoint. So I'm going to group these shapes and then export them out to a new shapefile. Just to make sure that we've preserved the exclusion zone, I'll display the new file on the map. We'll fill the shapefile so that it stands out properly, and we should see an exclusion zone in the middle, and that has been correctly preserved. The final thing we'll do in the live demonstration is go and look at the PDF file that was created by the workflow. You can see we've also got the grid files created here. We could obviously have done something far more complex and produced many more outputs, but the basics here are the grids and the maps themselves. This was our template map for the top Eocene, but as we scroll through we can see we've also got the top chalk, the top Cromer Knoll, the top Heron and the old red sandstone. So we've created 5 presentation quality maps with one click of a button, and these are of course all layered and GeoPDFs too. I'm sure you can appreciate from this how easy it is to update your surfaces and your maps when you get new data into a project, and that can be a big time saver in the current climate. We'll just go back to the PowerPoint to finish off. And to summarise, there's greatly increased use of drag and drop for Petrel users. For people new to Petrosys, this is a quick and intuitive way to get started and quickly build a presentation quality map. Being able to anchor map elements reduces the need for editing as the area of interest changes. This is the first step towards building predefined corporate map frames. Dynamic location maps update instantly, and it is no longer essential to create custom location maps. The ability to loop over third-party connections and the addition of well-top and title block content substitution eliminates the need for importing in many situations and greatly enhances automatic map creation option. Overall, this release should significantly increase your productivity and shorten your mapping workflows. I hope you have enjoyed this webinar and found it useful. Thanks again for your time today, and we'll now answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ewan, for this informative and very good presentation. We've got a question here about displaying location maps. As you've shown us the new dynamic location maps, could you please let us know if we can add state and country outlines to this map, as well as we can zoom in or zoom out of this location map?
That's an excellent question. So, with regards to the first part, at the moment all we have is a map of the world, but we definitely have an intention, and probably in the next major release we'll add in the ability for clients to have custom background maps, forward location maps. So the way we would envisage this would be something like a country outline or a basin outline just stored as a raster, and then that would be the basis for your own location maps. There's an option that I didn't really go into in too much detail called the zoom factor. That shows you how much of a border you have round about the location map itself, or round about the area of interest of your main map. So hopefully that answers your question. It's definitely something that we're intending to do.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have any questions? We can hang out here for a little bit more and just wait if anyone has any questions. And if not, then we will finish this presentation today. Could you review the looping workflow again, Ewan, please?
Okay, so we'll just move over to surface modelling again. And essentially there's only 3 parts to this workflow. What we did here was we initially created a Petrosys grid for one particular horizon, and then we used the draw map option to turn it into a PDF. Then we took those 2 steps and decided to loop over them. So these 2 steps are repeated for each of the different formations. So the big differences here now are that we don't have to have data in Petrosys formats before we can run the loop. We can just loop over the formations or zones from Petra Kingdom, all these different data sources, or if we're working with seismic horizons, we can pick from a range of different data sources too. We'll just go back to the wells. So as I mentioned, you can do filtering in here just to limit the formations that you're actually going to work with, or you could choose to add them all in if you wanted to do that. The main thing really here, looping over the data itself, this is also a scripted parameter. So in here, what we're substituting are different grid output names, and also the new thing is this ability to loop over different tops from the third-party connection. Now, you may find that scripting and looping looks a bit complicated, but this is the sort of thing that Petrosys support can help out with very easily. And once you have one of these workflows in place, it really can be a major time saver, particularly if you're working in a production environment where you're going to be repeating this frequently as new data comes in. And then the last stage was just this one. In this case, I decided to produce a PDF file. I could also have been plotting out to geotiffs or producing Petrosys' own DBM format. And as I say, there's a whole range of different parameters that you can script in here, but all I've chosen to script are the grids that are getting replaced, the tops that are getting posted. Most of the other data, like the license blocks, the country outlines, the north arrow, that all stays the same. But the other part that's new is the ability to put new stuff into the title block and script that as well. So I hope that answers the question. That's something that I'm sure people will really enjoy setting up and using with their own workflows.
Thank you very much. I can't see any more questions. So I think we will finish for today. Please remember that you can also email us in support if you still have questions after this presentation. And for today, I would like to thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.